Hello, thank you for joining the Fresh Frequency podcast, where I am your host, Kaitlynn. Thank you for tuning in, where we are healing, learning, and most importantly, we are here holding each other accountable. My last episode was a transparency episode, just kind of letting I know where I was at. I'm going to call this the first episode of season 2. So we're getting back into it. You know how we do. This episode is called It Stops With You. It's about breaking generational curses. It's about being aware of the trauma in our DNA. I got this topic when I was at Woman Evolve 2023, and I was listening to Dr. Anita Phillips speak, and it really made so much sense to me. Woman Evolve actually gave me so much insight, I must say, because I didn't make any video about that. Woman Evolve gave me so much insight when it comes to healing, when it came to my Black men, and when it came to loving myself, when it came to God. It was a great experience. It literally overfilled me to where I feel like I could pour back into cups again, where I don't feel as so depleted. So with the trauma in our DNA, it's about us breaking these generational curses. It's like right now we're fighting battles that that don't belong to us. We're fighting our ancestors' battles. We're fighting the trauma, the negativity of what our parents said, and they didn't know better because of what their parents said. Now it trickles down the line. The trauma in our DNA, the way that we are today. If you don't like the way that your family cycle is going through, and I'm saying like this, if you are in a family and you guys are not passing down abundance, riches, happiness, but you guys are going through fights and arguments and drama every time y'all around each other, that is trauma. We need to rewrite the trauma in our DNA. We need to stop right now. It stops with us. We are going to learn how to speak to one another. We're going to learn how to become successful. We're going to learn how to get knowledge. We're going to learn all these things, and we're going to pass it down. We are going to rewrite our family's history. Okay? We are going to be the ones to make the right now moment more like forever. We might not see the things that we're doing right now and the seeds that we're planting right now. We might not see the fruition of it in the future. We might not see how I told my nephew this and how he nurtured his kids and how I might not even see the work that is done. You might not ever see the work that is done. But the seeds that we plant today is for the future. And again, we might not ever be able to see it. So it's learning to have the strength to heal you, to heal your future family. Not your past family, but your future family. What's done is done. What's said was said. We might not ever get apologies. We might not ever get this, that, and the third. But when we know it's not right, it stops with us. It stops with me. It stops with you. Get the knowledge. Pass down the knowledge to your kinfolk. Pass it down to your family members. Pass it down to your siblings. Pass it down because it is important. It is very, very, very important. So also, when it comes to that, it's like we go through these battles, you're having all these weights on your shoulders. You're having all these things that you're going through. Again, we're fighting battles that our ancestors had to fight that they never healed from. And we don't even know half the reason we're going through half the things that we're going through. It just don't make sense to us. It don't make sense to us, but it's not going to ever make sense. It's like a curse that is following us. And that's why we break these generational curses. So it stops. Again, it stops with us, for our kids, for our kids' kids. So one thing that we could do is learn how to be grateful, learn how to be in the moment, learn how to actually be present. From 5 years from now, you'll see what you said today and how you felt today. And if you stick on it, you'll see it 5 years from now. It's not instant gratification. We'll never really see. It's really rare that we'll see what we cried and begged for come the next day or the next year. But if you really sit back and look, you'll see how over time everything start working out for you. How everything start being grand. How the devil thought he set up camp somewhere and how he thought that this family was going to be under his like shelter in the negative mindset and negative frame forever. And we're like, no, we rebuke all that. We rebuke depression. We rebuke anxiety. What is depression? What is anxiety? I am on God's side, the divine side. And what they say, freedom from stress is my divine right. And I believe that. Do you? So yeah, this is a little thing. Like, we just got to break it out. We just have to break out of it. We have to be the stop. We have to be the start of it. We have to just let our family members know when our the past family members, our family members who are not going through their healing transition, when they are speaking negative and they are being bad, we have to let them know that we're not in this place no more. This is not how we're prolonging life. And when you create your own family and when you have your own kids, and if you never have kids, however you can help, because I say that because I do not have kids and I don't know if I'll ever have some kids, but I do know when I speak to my sister and I speak to my nephew, I let them be I'm the example of like, this is what it looks like to create the life that you want. This is what it looks like to not be like, okay, this is my family, this is how we're raised, this is what I come from, this is my environment, I'm a product of it. No, I create the environment that I'm a product of. Not the product that I was born into, not the best that my mother could have done for me, but she came from, because where my mama came from to where she had me at, she went up. You feel me? Like, that was an advancement. So we keep advancing. Don't ever get stagnant and get stuck when you know that you deserve better. Don't ever get stagnant and get stuck in a negative space. Watch how you speak to each other. Watch how you speak to your kids. Watch how you speak to your siblings. Watch how you speak to anybody around you, but especially watch how you speak to your kids, because as adults, we are just our kid self and grown-up version. Most of our triggers, our traumas, and the way we are comes from our kid self. And you might grow to blame the adult for this being the way you are. So as the adults, now that we are the adults, let's do right by these kids. Let's do right by living. Let's do right by knowing. It's too much access to knowledge out here. There's free books online. Like, we got to read to get the knowledge, but there's too much everything out here to just sit here and just not rewrite your story if your story is not what you see. And when you rewrite your story, you rewrite her story, you rewrite his story, you rewrite history. You know what I'm talking about? When you rewrite your story, you are rewriting the story for someone else. It's not just about you. It's about your lineage. It's about who's to come after you. What we do right now is not about me. It's not about the past. It's about what's to come. And again, I might not ever see it, but they're going to know. Their great grandma Kaitlynn, their great auntie Kaitlynn, whoever I am going to be at that time, passed down the knowledge. I passed down the tools so we could have the knowledge to not live in poverty, to not live in the struggle. Them living in the struggle days is over. For what? Why? You don't have to. Just because your family did it, just because this is where you were raised, you think this is what your life is supposed to be like. Them being a product of your environment days are over. Yes, you ain't game goofy. You gamed up for a reason because you raised how you raised, you born how you born. Be thankful for that. But when it comes to living life, you don't have to live in the means of like your environment or where you were born and raised. You could relocate your life. You could start over your life 1,000 times. You could change your name 10,000 times. It really doesn't matter. But what does matter is that we know that the way that we were raised is not the way that we want to continue to be living. The way that we were raised, we don't want our children to be raised that way. We don't want to be the moms our moms were or the fathers that our fathers were. We want to be different, and we will be different. And the difference starts with us. Straight up. We break these generational curses, and it's not always about financial. It's not always about financial. It's a lot of mental. We're breaking these depressions. We're breaking this anxiety. We're breaking these mental instabilities. We're going to learn how to speak. We're going to learn how to communicate. We're going to be safe. We're going to create safeness. So, y'all, breaking generational curses. I had to really pick back up where I left off. Kind of threw me off, but you already know how the enemy be trying to mess with me when I be trying to spit that fire. He be like, but you know the devil is a liar. So we picked it back up where we left off at. And it is important to know that trauma is in our DNA. So when we do not understand why we are the way we are, it's okay not to know. Again, it's okay. But it's okay not to know. It is okay not to know. When there are things going on, we feel these ways, we are carrying these feelings, and we don't know why we are the way we are. Sadly, it's just the trauma in our DNA. It is our family's curse that followed us. And guess what? We're going to figure out how to heal from it on our end. We're going to be the stop. We're going to heal it. And we're going to make sure it doesn't trickle down to our kids and our kids' kids. And we're going to pass down the knowledge that we have to our siblings and our elders. Because nobody's ever too old to learn. But I am going to wrap it up here because right now, I ain't going to lie, they playing with me. They playing with me real bad. Real bad. Real bad. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for tuning into the first episode. I'm going to drop this too because we're going to be authentic. for the first official episode of season 2 of Fresh Frequency Pod, where we are healing, we are learning, and we are here holding each other accountable to remain at our highest selves. Thank you so much for staying tuned till the end. And my light just cut. Look, I'm telling y'all. Bye-bye.